All right,
just kidding.
everybody. Hey, how are you doing on this wonderful Saturday morning, afternoon, and night for some? Summer and Sunday already. Today we are here with one of the most awesome artists in the space. His name is Brendan Dawes. We also have Eleonora from Breezy, and we're joined and we're joined by Cartoon Advisory as well. And of course, this is the Cryptorian from the Welcome. Welcome everybody. Before I get into crazy intros, welcome.
I see Nikki. That's my friend.
Hey,
it's like we're in a metaverse.
How is everyone doing today?
I'm good. Lovely to be here, DC. And as I said before, loving the outfit. Eleonora, lovely to see you. And Cartoon, hey. And it's lovely to be here.
We're so happy to have you.
Cool. You can just
basically, I'm going to go over a little bit about. I'm going to share my screen here. We are all in this Arium space. So those of you just joining us for the first time, this is Arium. Okay, and we do this every month. We have a artist from the Whale Vault, and we partnered with Breezy, Eleonora from Breezy, and we put together these amazing spaces. We have Rune and Cartoon and myself. We go through this and make these amazing spaces for you and add amazing touches from Eleonora. And this month we're doing Brendan Dawes. So before we get into a bunch of stuff, Brendan, tell us about yourself and your career and how you got into NFTs.
Well, hello, everyone. Lovely to be here and lovely, really lovely to be asked to be Artist of the Month. And so thank you for that. My name's Brendan and I'm in the UK. I'm an artist. I've worked with digital arts for the last 25 years, though I first learned to code in the very early 80s. My first computer was a ZX81, which shows that I'm pretty old. And I loved the fact that I could type things into a box and make it do things. And that just captivated me. I won't bore you with my whole journey of where I've got to now, but I had a design agency, and I've been working with code to make arts for a long time. Luckily, I got into the MoMA permanent collection in 2008 after an exhibition that I was part of called Designing Elastic Mind. That was a coded piece that's now in the permanent collection there. And then, I did lots of work for various clients over the years, various brands that you've heard of, a lot of data viz type art type things. And so in 2020, I decided to get into this whole NFT thing after David Moore from Known Origin told me about it. I was ignoring him for quite a bit about, crypto art because I didn't really get it. For probably a year before that. And David, thankfully kept on at me and said, look, I think this NFT thing is totally you. And I was like, okay. So in 2020, I put something on Known Origin called Black Mamba's Revenge, which was a piece I'd made for the Lumen Prize. And this person called Whale Shark, I had no idea who that was, bought that piece within an hour. And that was the start of my NFT journey. And here we are now, via Sotheby's and various other things. So yeah, it's been fun.
And man, what a journey you've been on. Yeah, I've had the pleasure of watching a lot of things that you're doing and making some cool videos for some of them. And every time I make one, I'm just like, wow, this work is just fantastic. Your website is really cool. And everything you do is really, it's inspiring, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
So I've had the pleasure, but I'm going to hand it over to Eleonora because I don't want to talk too much. But she's been doing some amazing stuff in the space and writing some amazing stuff about you. So Eleonora, go ahead, take it away.
Hi, hello everyone. Hi, Brendan. So happy to have you here. Finally, the whole team for months, we have to do brand. When are we doing brand for the month, for the next month? We have to do brand. I was like, yeah, we really have to do that because we all wanted to. So happy to have you here. As I was telling you before we started the live streaming, I really love your art. You don't need my, obviously, opinion about that, but really, really love your art. I know that Will Shark loves you. Again, when we had the show in Rome, when I organized the show in Rome in 2020, we had this catalog. It was Brendan Dawes everywhere. And you just talked about your Genesis piece bought by him on an Origin. That's also very cool. Your work is amazing. I mean, what I wrote is just obviously very personal. Usually I don't like do art studies or comparisons to other artists, but really for me, every time that I look at your work, even for my Breezy, you have to know them. For my Breezy feature, which is called Easy Breezy, where I pick one NFT a day, there is my colleague who is helping me to create this list of artists to be featured. And she's like, okay, you put like a red on artists that you're not interested, like art pieces that you're not interested for the feature, and like a green on those where you're interested in. And then she's like, oh, come on, you cannot put a green only on Brendan Dawes. We know that you like that. You have to, it's like, like you have to find, like that everyone can be red. But anyways, this is internal stories. When I look at your art, I really, really feel this sense of suspension. It's almost like, like it never ends. And again, in the curatorial text, I even put the a very famous poet by John Keats, which really talks about that, and it's the first thing that I thought when I was looking at your art, yes. So I was just there's no like a nice way to ask about like someone like art's message or inspiration, or like what is your creation about, but I will ask you that again. For me it's almost like enchanting, like a hypnosis. And what I think that it's very powerful and strong is that obviously we all know, and it's the same thing that it happens in the John Keats poem, pretty much. We all know that art is eternal and that everything that is touched by art becomes eternal. But when looking at your art, it's almost like eternity is already there. That is very powerful for me. It's like it happens a little earlier than the rest of the artwork. So that's very magical for me. So I will have to ask you this question, although the words won't be precise, but what is the message of your art? And again, what is your inspiration, and what are your creations about?
Well, that's I'm just trying to phrase it. I guess for me, the purpose of art is to create a lens to look at the world, or to ask a lens to create questions about the world around us. And so for me, when I realized that I had a collector a few months ago who said, choose your 5 best pieces, like of all your work. Look, do this as an exercise. Choose the 5 pieces that you want to be remembered for. And so it was a really great exercise to do that, just as a self thing. I didn't publish this thing or anything. And I realized there was this consistent theme of, as you've already mentioned, time and memories and things like that. And I also realized that I think another consistent theme is that I like to take things that pre-exist and try and present them in a different way how you would normally view them. So you can take, like, you know, Duchamp's idea of ready-mades. So I'm taking, and if you think of ready-mades, that in a way data, and I'm using data in its biggest, you know, widest meaning. Right now, this is data. What we're doing, all this sound we're creating is data. All the people that are visiting the gallery is data. Everything we're doing now is data. So we can take that and we can present it in, you know, a million different ways. And so that's what I'm kind of interested in, is trying to create alternative views of often the mundane, and just to, so we can then just stop for a moment and question things, because I think that's what art allows us to do. It allows us to, I want my art, I don't want to provide answers. I'm not interested in answers. I'm interested in leaving people with more questions.
Yes.
That's what I'm interested in. It's the reason why I stopped being a designer, because design is essentially really about answers, answering a brief, creating answers, where art is about questions. And so for me, I was more interested in questions. So if you watch Kubrick movies like 2001, you're left with a myriad of questions, you know, things like that. And that's what interests me. Well, Spielberg is more about providing answers, right? So
yes,
and I love Spielberg as well. But so for me, I prefer the question part. So what you're seeing in this gallery is just some of how I kind of manifest that, I guess.
Yes, that's such a beautiful take on art, that it you know, it doesn't solve your problems. It actually provokes problems or raises questions. Yes, and yes, and I see it, and I think that it is very, very evident in your artworks. I mean, it's and then the other thing that art does, it needs to be universal, right? So then it comes from you. You're a person. You're the artist. It's very personal. And like I was again looking through all the art pieces. Sometimes it's like the ballet. Sometimes it's an animal, nature, geometry. I don't know, like the your passion for monochromatic studies of shapes, like combinations and everything. But in the end, there is this like beauty and balance that make it universal. We don't need to know that it's about the ballet, right? Or we don't even know like what you're talking about or how you approach that, but it becomes universal. That is something that you, I think that you do very well. There is another interesting thing that came to my mind also when I was enjoying your art, which is, of course, as you were mentioning, like about memories. So we could relate memories to time, and we could relate, obviously, your art, it is very related to space as well. Again, like studies of geometry, like spatial and everything. So like the concept of space and time is pretty consistent in your art pieces. But then I think about the crypto art space, and I think about it like the space where really the concept of time and space doesn't exist. If there is one thing that doesn't exist, it's time and space. Like, this is why we have a different speed. This is why we have a geographically agnostic community. This is why it's, I mean, before crypto art, it's the internet, right? It's internet, and the community is of internet. And so I think that somehow, which I find to be very interesting, body of work that it is so about time and space when like enjoyed and existing in a space like that of crypto art and crypto art community is even, you know, like stronger, appears to be even stronger as a concept. What are your feeling about that?
You know what, I don't know if I've ever thought about you know, it in the context of crypto art, because I know you say that time doesn't exist really, but obviously every transaction is actually time stamped. So there
Yes.
is, and I know time is a man-made, woman-made concept. It's abstract. And we can get into all kinds of discussions with time and stuff. But I don't know. I don't know what that relationship is with crypto art as such, because you know what, I don't think of the crypto art space when I'm making my work. I don't think of NFTs when I'm making my work. I don't, NFTs is a delivery mechanism as far as I'm
Thank
concerned.
God.
You can do, obviously you can use the technology in very interesting ways, to do stuff with the art itself. So then it becomes part of the medium. So it's not as simple to say NFTs it's just a mechanism for delivery. But in one part it is, but then it can also become part of the canvas, part of the materials. But I don't think of like, oh, I'm going to make an NFT today. I think about what is the work that I'm going to make, what message do I want to make. So and for me, context is more about where the exhibition is. So recently I did one for LA Freeze at the beginning of this week, that was auctioned at the beginning of this week through Vertical Crypto. And what I loved was when that work was sold, originally I didn't know who the owner was. And so what happened then, the person that bought it then DM'd me to say he lives in LA, and because it was I should explain, it was a piece of work that sort of visualized, for want of a better word, that I found out that people in LA spend on average 119 hours a year sat in their car. So
wow.
I called it 119, and I did this monolithic piece from CCTV data of traffic. And the person that bought it was someone who sits in traffic every day in LA. And bizarrely, when he went to this exhibition, because it was an in real life thing, he was stuck in traffic on the way to the exhibition. So he ended up buying this piece, and he said that's why he bought it, because it totally resonated with him. Now, for me, that's why I'm making this work. It's to make work that resonates in an emotional way with the person that collects it or views it even or sees it. That's the deal for me. It's like it pushes something emotionally in them. Now, it could also make them melancholic. It could make them euphoric. It doesn't matter. As long as there's some kind of emotional connection, then that's absolutely what it's about for me. So it's not about thinking about the crypto art space or anything like that. It's more about thinking about the context of what I'm trying to say.
Thank you, and we are very grateful for that you don't wake up and think about, okay, I'm gonna make an NFT. Very, very grateful. No, it was more, I wasn't thinking about the NFT. I was more on the exactly what you said, like the fruition of the work. When you are, it's more about like the internet and the fact that again, you don't even have a space or a time like what's happening here in Arium, right? So the way that you're going to the fruition of the artworks, that's what I was referring to. But another question that I wanted to ask you also is that DC, you have to stay like a little bit farther from the pieces, because we can only hear the sound of the pieces. Thank you. Now, another thing that I wanted to ask you, Brendan, is that every time that there is a new art movement, and again, it can be the one of crypto art in this case, but everyone always thinks that they are inventing something, that something's like totally like brand new, especially for like art currents or everything. And then I look and I watch your videos. Like I was just very curious, like on YouTube, see your talks, TEDx and other talks that you have done. DC. Someone has to tell DC that we are hearing like the music and everything. Okay. And I was watching like your talks and everything, and I really had the feeling that, I mean, the tools change over time, but really the message and even that spirit of experimentation with, I wouldn't even say, I think that before code, you were even experimenting with like physical machines, so like physical computers, and really like this relationship with machine and human was always there for you. Only now you're using just more modern tools. What is your comment about that, and how did your creative process develop? Like what did it change from, like, as you said, like 25 years ago until now, and what it didn't change?
What changed? I guess, well, a lot of it was, continues to be based in code, and the reason I love code is because you can, just tweak one little bit and it changes everything, or it can do. So that has been a consistent thing. I think the other consistent thing is I'm interested in combinations. So I have like lots of little experiments on this computer that's over years, and they do like kind of one thing, and if you look at each one, they're like quite boring, but the power is how you combine those things. That's how you get larger things. So often my work is a combination of small things put together. I used to make break beats and things like that and vinyl records and stuff. So, and that I come from that era of scratch DJs and stuff like that. So that was always my mentality of using samples, and I think that still continues now, that I still feel my work is I'm sampling, but in a visual way or a code way, where the samples are kind of mostly my own now. So but it's the way I put those together. The other thing is I'm constantly curious, and I constantly want to improve and get better. So I don't understand these people who I just think they're awesome all the time. I just think everything I do is terrible. So it's the way. That's the way I have to operate. It's like all I can see is flaws, and if you the way I explain it is, you've got in your head, you've got this perfect circle, for instance, and then you go to, right, I'm going to make this perfect circle, I'm going to manifest this perfect circle, and then you make the perfect circle, and you realize it's like a squiggly line or something, right? And so my job is to learn how to make that thing resemble the thing in my head. Right, and that comes from practice and work, and just like constant working at it and being relentless to try and just get better and better, because it never resembles that thing in your head. It just doesn't. So that's what I'm trying to do every single day, is try and improve, because all I see is flaws, and I think that's it's a healthy way to be. It's because otherwise you just think, well, I'm awesome, so I'm not going to learn anything new. And I'm like, I want to do things I don't know how to do. I'm not interested in just like, just constantly doing the same thing over and over again because I've learned how to do X. It's like, it doesn't interest me. So that's why, I tend to have a few different styles or whatever. I think one thing, I think the way it's changed is I used to do more work that was kind of 2D and flat, because of the tools I was using at the time. And then when I discovered other tools that I combined with my previous ones, I could make more 3D and more sculptural work. And I think I've always done sculptural work, but now I have the tools to do it, which is why, I've done a lot of 3D printed work, and I've sold physical things. I've made electronic hardware, which I sold in retail and invented and all these kind of things, Kickstarter things and all kinds of stuff. So because I also love physical in real life things as well. but they are a pain to ship to everyone. So you know, I love digital for that reason, that it's, you know, there's no problem about logistics. And yeah, I still do physical things, and I still, you know, do prints and things like that. So yeah, I think that's how it's changed. It's just become a bit more sculptural. But I think, you know, there is all these other, as I mentioned, the consistencies still go through. They're all part of the DNA, but the DNA slightly changes shape, I guess.
Yes, I like to. Yeah, I think DNA is perfect. And do you already know? Do you already have a sense or feeling on like where you're going with your work? How is it going to change?
I think I'm doing a lot more. I'm doing a piece for the Venice Biennale, and it's a lot. You know, it's kind of. I realize the stuff that I really love when I look back at my work is like the Black Mamba's Revenge thing, the Swan, those kind of things. That, you know, as much as I love the geometric stuff, I absolutely love that. But I guess I'm drawn to the more weird, sculptural, dreamlike, abstract type stuff, and so that's the kind of things that I'm trying to, you know, develop. You know, that they look like physical forms, maybe, but in a digital sense. So yeah, I think that's where I'm trying to concentrate on right now, is just develop that style a bit more. Yeah, so it's you'll see I've got a piece in a Paris auction, which will be announced next week.
Okay.
And that's an audio generated piece with a wonderful musician called Sean Trefor, who I did a piece for Poly Auction in China with. So I've done a piece with him for this Paris auction, which I'm really pleased with. You know, it's kind of a sculptural thing again, but it's all in real, you know, it's generative audio thing. So yeah, I think you develop. I'm just trying to hone the style a bit and think, okay, so what am I trying to make? What is the consistent? Where am I going? You know, where is it heading? You know, and I'm still trying to find, you know, that form, that shape, but I'm trying to see what resonates with people as well. You know, so it's a constant movable feast, I guess. Hopefully that makes some kind of sense.
It makes perfect sense to me, Brendan.
Amazing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Yep.
We may have lost Eleonora. Sorry for blasting your ears out. The sound had just kind of worked its way in, even though my settings said it didn't. So
yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool.
She's back.
Oh, she's back.
Hi, sorry, I lost you for a few seconds. Yeah, it's my Wi-Fi. Yeah, but Brendan, I have like another question related to what you're saying, like where you're going with the sculpture and your the new piece that you have for Paris and everything, like concentrating more on the style. Do you feel that the fact that you have all these new tools available, that you're also learning, as you said, because you don't want to just use what you know how to use, do you feel that the availability of new tools helps that what you were talking about, like the fact of like translating into art what the vision in your mind is? Do you think that you're getting closer with like the possibility of using more and more tools?
Yeah, I think that the problem is you've got to be careful not to be seduced by the tools, and you end up, you know, just making something because you like the new tool. You know, the tools are, well, they're exactly that, a tool. They shouldn't dictate the art in a way that, you know, influences you and you just go, well, you're just using that because you've learned a new thing. So I'm always conscious of that. What these tools do is allow for new possibilities, and allow for new ways of creative expression. And that to me is exciting. I think that's where it's, so obviously you can talk about AI and things like that, but and you see a lot of these AI things now, which are actually now really easy to make. So people are just churning these things out, where actually the people that, like Mario Klingerman, who's like just amazing, his use of AI is so sophisticated and so deep. Well, there's kind of like a surface level AI where you can go online and just make something, and that's where it's not good for me. Where what Mario is doing is like proper, like, deep level stuff. So, and I find that stuff just incredible. So that's when technology is used in a way, that it is, you spend time with the tools, and try to work out the sophisticated use of them, because you're getting to know them more, and you realize that maybe it's using it in a way that isn't, so gratuitous. You use it in a more subtle way. The thing is, I always think, why are people buying your work? They're buying your work because they want to see you in that work. I'm a big Charles and Ray Eames fan, the designers, the legendary designers, and I'm lucky to have a few Eames pieces of furniture here. And Charles Eames always said that he wanted to show that his hand had touched the work, even though these things are obviously made by a team in a factory. Once him and his wife had developed it, he wanted to show that his hand had touched it. So I think about that with my work. It's why I don't have a team developing my stuff. There is just me, right? So there is no team. There's just me. Everything you see I've made. And it's important for me. Now you could go down the Andy Warhol route, where you just like, churn these things out in a factory. But and that's fine. But for me, I can't do that. So, because I'm interested, I want to know that I made that thing. So yeah, but technology is just incredibly fascinating, and it moves every day. It's different. New things come out every day. You've just got to be careful, and also you can't keep up with it all. That's the crazy thing, right? So you realize that it's impossible to keep up with it. So don't try. don't you can get distracted with like, oh, there's this other new shiny thing over here. Now I'm going to forget that thing I was working on and go over here. And it's like, and so nothing ever gets done, right? I see this all the time with people, and they just get distracted. So part of what you've got to do is just really laser focus on, okay, this is what I'm going to learn. Frank Gehry, the architect, in an interview, he said, become an expert in you. So that's what I always have in mind, is like, because it's very easy to be distracted as well by what other people are doing, and you're trying to like, keep up with them, and that's the worst thing you can do. So you have to concentrate on just being you, and believe in yourself, and yeah, you view all this other stuff, and it's like completely amazing and mind-blowing, and it does make you go, oh my God, how did they even make that? But you have to just go, no, I'm just going to concentrate on trying to be the best that I can be. So that's the way I try and cope with all this new technology that's confronting us every day. Hopefully that makes sense.
It makes total sense. I think it looks like we have lost Eleanor again.
No, I'm here.
Oh, she's back. She's back.
Right. I was even talking. I was just saying that is a very powerful message that of concentrated on yourself, on who you are. Art is not the tool. It's and I mean, or the tool is not art, which is something that I keep repeating every day, especially in the crypto art space, where everything is about. It's like just as you were saying. Brandon, NFT is like it's a tool, it's a certificate. Yeah. Now, I personally am looking forward, like a second step in the space where you will have the blockchain as smart contract used for the actual creation of art. But again, it is a tool, which is not the art. And I think that it's a powerful message also for all the artists who are listening. It's like, if it's empty, if your work is empty because you just concentrated on the technique. I mean, this is something as old as the world, right? It goes back to I don't know, guitar solos where there's only technique and there's no feeling, or I don't know, David Gilmour of Pink Floyd not having the technique and having everything else. So I really agree with what you say, and I think I really hope that artists are listening to what you said. And what you said about also collectors, why do they buy your artworks? It's because they want to see you. That is also very powerful. So I think that everything that you have been talking about in this conversation that we are having today is really, for me, it really is evident and present and transparent in your works. That's why they're so, right? That's why they cause and provoke so many emotions, while it is very difficult when it comes to, as you were mentioning, AI, algorithms made art pieces to really feel the emotions, besides the, aesthetic and the pretty looking and the curiosity about how we can use the tools. So it was already very clear for me because of the feelings that I had when I look at your works. But thank you for specifying that. And I think that in this time where we keep talking about art and technology, and the 90% of the time the discussion is on technology, it's very good to bring it back to art.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I also hate the word utility. I just want to say that, because it's like, oh my God, it's it. You know what? There's utility built into all my work, and if it makes your heart beat faster or it gets reaction, that's the utility. So there ain't no roadmap. There's that, it's that art doesn't have utility. I think it was it's often been said, all art is useless. Of course it is. That's the whole point of art, right? So if you're looking for utility in art, then look elsewhere. Go and buy a PFP thing. But, that's not what I'm interested in. So all art is useless. Just remember that.
Wow. No, that's I love hearing you say that, Brendan. That's I love that perspective for sure.
Well, I think it was Oscar Wilde who said that, so I'm paraphrasing.
Your favorite.
Yeah, so but that is the whole point of art. Is it doesn't have a usefulness. The usefulness is it gets an emotional reaction, but it doesn't have a practical use. Now, you could argue, of course, when art suddenly has value, it then becomes an investment. So, there is that part of it, of course. But this idea of utility that I see all the time, it just, it kind of annoys me. But that's just me.
No, that's an interesting point, because we do get a little bit too focused on utility, and one of the because NFTs have brought something a little bit different, in the terms of collectability and technology is and stuff that we've been talking about here, but we do get a little bit too focused, and then we forget about the art. And I love bringing Eleonora into the conversation. Because she has a really good view on the art itself and really wants to speak about the art. And that's why I love reading her curatorial text and, hearing her, talk about a certain or describe a piece of art or a story, because it brings back the art into the art.
Yeah,
you know, it really does give you something a little bit more special. You know.
thank you.
Yes, Brandon, do you want to, is there any piece in the vault collection? So I believe we have 39 pieces in the vault collection. I know that your Genesis piece is collected by Wave Shark.
Yeah.
Is there any piece in particular in the space that you would like to talk about, or for us to know a little more about?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Well, obviously the Black Mamba's Revenge piece, which you can see in the distance there, was my Genesis NFT, and I think it's an important piece for me because obviously it was my first one, but I think also sculpturally I really liked it, because here's the thing, right? So that is the end, the sequence, the fight sequence from Kill Bill Volume 1 at the end. Now, there's a million ways to do that. And, you know, it's very easy to kind of show like the figures fighting, you know. So there was an AI I used that stripped out the human figures from each frame. Now, you could have just done it as, you know, so you could see those human forms very easily. But that had no interest for me because, well, just watch the film. You know, it's like if you want to see that, look at it the brilliant way Tarantino presented it. So what I'm trying to do is an alternative view. So that's why it's all weird and abstracted, and you know, but that is from left to right. That is that sequence, right? So it's got a yellow jumpsuit in.
Yes.
In some of the scenes, it looks more orange.
So
but the red is all the blood, and then it goes to the nighttime sequence in the snow outside. So yeah, there's, you know, that for me kind of, if there was a piece that would summarize my kind of approach, it's that. The recursion stuff that I've done, I think 12 of, that I sort of finished last year. You know, that I love that because you know what I love? I love collections of things. Like I'm sat here in a room full of, you know, physical vintage Japanese robots that I collect. You know, so I love collections, but I like collections when it comes from a series of work. So the Recursion series I really liked because they all start from the same premise, and that is the idea of an algorithm that is recursive. So what you're seeing here is the same algorithm repeated, and then, you know, and there's a slight variation in that algorithm, so it might rotate on each iteration, and so you get these shapes. And so I started to
can I?
Yeah, sorry, Eleonora. Yeah.
No, can I ask you, how do you feel the need of a series instead of like a unique art piece? Since you said that you really like series, when does an artist feel the need of developing more, like in an art series instead of one single art piece?
What? Say again. So how do I see a different value when there's more than one?
No, how do you feel the need of developing your concept in an art series instead of just like one unique piece? Almost like it's not enough. Like
it's weird because sometimes when I make one piece, I sometimes don't think it's going to be a series. So so I'll make one and go, oh, that was quite nice, and I'll put that out there, one of one, and then I think, you know what, actually I want to develop this more, so let's see what else we can do. So, you know, one of the things with code and things like that is, you know, the idea of iterations. So with this series, originally I think it was like one piece, and then I thought, you know, I think this could look cool as a series. And what I love how Rune has done this in the gallery. And I think Cartoon and Rune did this at the gallery. So beautifully done is when you see it all together like that. Like I think there's 4 pieces out there. You can see that's what I love about it is that when you see them displayed like that, even or even on the Maker's Place website where that is, you can. I really love how it looks as a series because there's something in consistency and the idea of a collection. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts almost. So it makes me very happy when I see it displayed like this to go, oh, yeah, you can kind of see the consistency, but each one is different because there's also a narrative in that it takes 10 seconds to build and then after 10 seconds it does something, so either floats off or it explodes or there's a kind of a reveal. So yeah, there's it's a special series to me, and I could have just kept this going forever, but I finished it last year. I think Whale Shark bought the last few pieces along with a few other collectors, so it finished at there's 12 basically. So yeah, because I was kind of again I kind of get bored with stuff and I go, right, I'm done with that now. It's like let's move on now.
Oh, that's you had said something, Brendan, about Rune and Cartoon, and as we're talking here, I'd like to spend a few minutes asking Rune about and Cartoon about how they set up the space, and maybe talk a few minutes about it.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, we're trying something new every single time that we do one of these Arium galleries, and the great thing about it is that again, the artists involved are just as much involved with the creation of the gallery as myself and Cartoon is. We had some ideas about putting a giant centerpiece in the middle of the space, and Brendan quickly provided a great graphic model, and actually we worked with Unfazed Alligator to rotate that. And so yeah, that is again, it's something new. And Brendan gave us the idea about the Whale Shark NFT, the physical model out front on a pedestal. That's great too. And yes, that's me flying up in the air. I'm trying to get screenshots. No, I got tons of movies and stuff of me flying through the space for everyone for later. So, but yeah, no, this actually is the most work that Cartoon and I have displayed in this single space. So we knew we had to include the glasses. The glasses had to be there. So in Brendan Dawes' style, we wanted to match his color scheme, his outlook on art itself. And I think it managed it actually let me learn a lot more about Arium. I figured out how to play with the sun. I figured out how to add spotlights with color to give that spinning piece in the middle some life. Also, I do want to note that this gallery, it being one of the biggest in regards to the number of pieces out there, came with its own challenges of trying to make it fit while also making it presentable. And there was a lot of movement, a lot of moving around. Cartoon and I moved, just like what you had noted earlier, Brendan, was those 4 pieces. We actually had them scattered all over the place. And then we were like, we should probably put these together. And that way you can see everything, as one. Yeah. So it's awesome. And I do want to note that everyone, this gallery is not going away. It's not going away. And in fact, we do have our Whale Hub. DC, if you want to turn around, we can show you real quick. So if you go through that black spinning portal, and if you hold down shift, you can go faster. my physics option was taken away, so I can't make everyone fly yet. But anyway, this brings you to our hub, and our hub has all of our past pieces. And Brendan Dawes is on the left when you enter. So all you got to do is walk through it. So go ahead and walk through that, DC. And literally, it just takes you right to this space. And you can, this is where you'll be able to visit in the future, even after today. So you can tell your friends. You could always go back to that and check out the other pieces later in life. But yeah, this is not going anywhere. So.
Wow, that I didn't realize that. You Cartoon and Unfazed Alligator have done such a wonderful job, because curation is such a skill, and I think this is such a new area. Doing this well in gallery context, and I think it just looks so fantastic, because also there is, even though there's a lot of work in there, it's still, there's room for the work to breathe, which is wonderful. And I think having this central giant recursion thing in the middle, that I was excited about being able to do that. That you were like, could you send us some GLB files? And we're like, I don't know, I think so. So it's so great to see it, and just thank you for
no problem. What was good about this is, the folks again at Arium, I can't praise them enough. They are amazing with the help. I mean, there was a point where actually OpenSea had changed, or not OpenSea, excuse me, but Maker's Place had, and other places had changed the way that we can grab NFTs like this. And so we had to deal with that at first, got that taken care of. But then then I was nice nightmare. But then it was the problem of when I placed the physical models in, everything was blacked out. You couldn't even see it. And so that's when I learned about the spotlights and the different filters that could go on it, and the placement of it, which is wonderful. And it made a world of a difference. I cannot stress to you how many times I moved a little light to the left or to the right or a little bit this way to wait for it to spin a little bit more to see how much color I can get into it. It was really intricate, and I have so much fun doing this.
That's great. And I think oftentimes we learn all this stuff when we're kind of like, usually when you haven't got a lot of time and you have to get it done, and also when you've kind of thrown in the deep end, I've always learned my best stuff when I'm actually on the project, not when I've got, downtime is great and stuff, but when you've got to you've agreed to do something, like, okay, I've got to figure this out now. And I think that's what's great with this. You can see that, and obviously I'm sure all these galleries are just going to constantly improve all the time. So with all these learnings, it's great.
Yep, exactly. And that's another thing that I just want to stress, is that that even in your own creativity, not just yours, Brendan, but everyone else that's listening. Don't, I mean, it's going to be a little overwhelming at first, but don't be afraid to try do things out, because you'll get it, you'll nail it, and it'll turn out perfectly, and as a result, you'll grow from it. So and I do kind of work well under pressure, so that does help. So I mean, that was my making of this piece, and just seeing these pieces again. Brendan, you already know that the Swan is one of my favorites. As you can tell, it's the tallest one in there. But yeah, I have fun doing it because it gets me a chance to view this art so often and for so long that I get to appreciate more and more of it.
Yeah. Oh no, thank you. No, it looks and the Swan piece, is a special piece for me. So it's I love the way it sticks through the ceiling.
Yeah, I had to make it grand. I had to move that so many times because it was bursting through the roof, and then I wanted to give it that IMAX feel by tilting it so that it's looking down on you, but you can appreciate the movement and everything.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There's a gallery. I'm doing a solo show in Beijing later in the year, and they have this incredibly, like a screen that size, basically, in real life. And it's it's kind of like a precursor to that. So
there you go.
Wow, this has been fantastic. Thank you, Ruin, for sharing that. Jeez. Thank you, Brendan, for being our February vault artist for the month.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eleonora, for everything you do.
It's a huge pleasure.
The pleasure is always all ours. Brendan. So before we take off, so we've an hour flew by really quick. Thanks everyone for joining us at the gallery. Just want to mention one thing about the Poe app. So we do have an amazing Poe app that is designed by Brendan Dawes. So if you have not jumped in and followed the rules, basically it's right in the front here by the curatorial text over here. So definitely go in, do these steps, and and we'll get you the Poe app in about 48 hours, I'd say, because there is a little bit of stuff that we have to do behind the scenes, but we will keep this channel open for another hour after the stream. So if you haven't quite did your thing, definitely do it quick, because we will close it down an hour after the stream. But with that said,
that's a good thing. Real quick, the fact that we're closing it down after the stream gives you that chance to tell your friends, get some people in the Discord, and also into Arium. Get yourself a Brendan Dawes Poe app. I mean, come on now. So you have time. You have time even after the stream. So just get it done.
Yep. And so just going into some details, you have to take a selfie here in the gallery. You have to post it on Twitter, and you have to tag the appropriate stuff. So do that. That being said, Brendan, I know you have you're always doing stuff, before we actually take off, tell us about what your next things are, if you can, and then we'll let you go and get started on those.
Yeah, sure. I'll thank you. Well, listen, thanks everyone for showing up and all this amazing work. It's fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, the next thing is this. So Favois Paris. I just like saying Favois. So Favois Paris are an auction house in Paris. If you look at their website, they have the coolest ever photo of them as a team. They look like something out of a Francois Truffaut movie. It's amazing. So anyway, they're doing their first NFT exhibition. I've done a piece of work for that. I think PAC is in that exhibition. It's called the Prohibited Exhibition auction. So the auction will be on March the 10th. And it's an in real life auction as well. So I've got that. I've got a Venice Biennale thing. But then I've also got something that we're developing in a minute. I happened to meet when I was in Miami at Art Basel. I met an amazing jazz pianist, Emmett Cohen, who is ranked as the 4th best jazz pianist in the world. And we just got chatting through friends, and we're going to be doing something together. And hopefully it's going to be on my own platform. So it's going to be something new. It's going to be on a platform that will be on my own domain. So that's exciting to see where that goes. And yeah, so and then I've got a solo show in London in Mayfair in May, and a solo show in Beijing, and then TR Lab, who I did a drop with in October last year, who are wonderful. They've got a physical show in Shanghai in March, which I'm part of as well. So yeah, various things happening. Keeps me off the streets. So yeah, it's good. It's a lot of fun. But thank you everyone for listening to me warble on, and yeah, thank you.
Awesome, man, Brendan. So good, and I just want to mention a lot of people who came. This is the first time seeing your stuff, which is
cool,
which is crazy, because we're always talking about you here. We love you at the Well community.
Oh, thank you.
And we always love your work. So glad again to have you on. And this space is amazing. with that, yeah, we're going to definitely be looking out for everything that you're doing, of course, always. And I am going to drop this amazing video done by our friend Cartoon Advisory. And we are going to cut. So everyone say goodbye, and we'll see you next time. And
thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Eleonora. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. And here is this amazing video.